coffee bean.
Yeah, yeah.
And I can see
But
that we are officially live.
yes. And even though I really love Vietnamese coffee, but most of the time I only get like Arabica.
Oh, well, actually, that's where we differ. I absolutely love having a cafe denda.
Yeah.
Um, it's just like coffee with ice, and it is so strong. You're going to get such a strong coffee high afterwards, but that's what I sign up for, you know? As soon
Yeah,
as
I
you
know.
live in Vietnam, you need to take Vietnam coffee.
Yeah, definitely. But do you know that bạc xỉu, which is like the combination of Vietnamese coffee, condensed milk, and a little bit of fresh milk, that
Oh,
will
I
get
love.
you easily hyped up and sometimes nauseous most of the time, though.
First thing in the morning, I used to make it every day because I have a fin, and basically with that fin, I'm able to make Vietnam coffee the way Vietnamese coffee is supposed to be made.
Yes,
Um,
yes, yes.
Very generous with the amount of Vietnamese coffee you put in there, Robusta being key, and making sure that you are ready for the day, which is just a little bit of fresh milk, condensed milk, and Vietnamese coffee. Then you're going to know what the true meaning of a caffeine high.
Yes. I used to I had this one American friend and she's now living in Korea. And before she left Vietnam for Korea, I gave her a bunch of Vietnamese coffees in a fin so that she could like survive there. Because she's so used to Vietnamese coffee now.
Oh, and it's really what you said about survival, because when you start taking Vietnamese coffee, you can't go back to regular coffee after that.
It's like an addition
Oh, I
for
know.
real.
I
All right.
absolutely.
Yeah, I can see that people are saying hi to you, Cathal.
It's great to be here, and thank you so much. So we got Doing Ngok saying hi, we got Sang Trung saying hi, Carl, and it's great to be here, and thank you so much. And
Oh,
it's
it
good to
seems
have you.
like your Vietnamese pronunciation is pretty good though. Do
Oh,
you
it's
take any
terrible.
course?
Never. Well, I speak
Don't
any
say that.
Chinese, but
Mm.
learning Vietnamese is going to be a whole different level. I can tell you that much.
Yeah. Oh, when you come to Vietnam, text me, ping me, or anything. I can give you some basic Vietnamese lessons. I used to do that when I was in college.
That doesn't surprise me given your English level. A lot of the people, it was the same in China. When their English was at a certain level, a lot of them liked teaching Chinese.
Yes.
Um, Same seems to be true with Vietnamese too.
Yeah, that is like a cultural sharing and stuff.
Oh, it's fantastic to see though.
All right, news is coming. Yes, definitely, Zikhang. We have a lot of things today to talk about.
A lot.
And yeah, once again, Cathal, our very new favorite face in on Metastrike live streams. Say hi
Great,
to him.
great to be here. Thank you so much. And because Hazel requested, I'm back in my pink shirt. So I'm at
Yeah, and now that you are wearing your pink shirt, I decided to wear something more colorful, more bright, other than like just black and white.
well, definitely better than wearing black, which is a mistake I'm not making again.
Yeah. All right. So, hi everyone. Welcome back to our live stream, our AMA today. Yes, once again because we're having a lot of things coming, so that's why we keep like continue holding AMAs after AMA so that we can uh like share with you guys our plans and our visions as well as our strategies upcoming. So, all right. So today live stream is mostly about our gaming strategy, our plans to minute, our execution plan, and one of the most important things that it seems like our a lot of our users are requesting for it, which is the use cases of the MTS.
Absolutely, Hazel. And thank you so much for once again hosting this platform. It's something we plan on doing either weekly or bi weekly, because in our mind, the key thing is making sure there's a consistent stream of communication between the Metastrike team and the broader public. And I can see that Anderson is saying greetings from Brazil. Well, greetings to you too, Anderson. Great to have you here.
Yeah, it's nice to have like a Brazilian user here because uh I mean like we are very welcome. We really welcome like users from other countries and other continents. But so far we only have the server for Southeast Asia users. But yeah, please stay tuned. We're gonna like update the game so that it can like be reached by everyone. All right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so as everybody like most people know about Metastrike, it is a very popular and potential gaming platform. So I would love to ask Cathal, why is the upcoming shift is mostly and how can I say all about gaming?
Absolutely, absolutely. So first and foremost, there are two different sides or three different sides in the strategic overhaul of the Metastrike project. The first one relates to the game launching capabilities because a lot of gaming projects within the Web 2 space, they consistently suffer from the same problem whereby they're unable to make the adaptation towards Web 3. And basically, Metastrike consists of a gaming studio. They're quite strong in what they do, and they basically have the capacity to be able to make sure that Web 2 can make those Web 2 games are capable of making that jump to Web 3. So that's the first thing to point out. The fact that their in house capabilities are there. It's a global, vibrant community of gamers. So, video gamers, that is, and as well as that you have a large amount of things related to esports, tournaments, and basically creating a very high functioning game that can appeal to a wide demographic and a wide variety of people. That's one of the key things to point out when looking at Metastrike. But what if there was a way of actually getting people to be able to basically get more involved, get more engaged, make a more interactive tournament experience within the Metastrike project? That's one of the things we really want to be able to do, and one of the core undertakings we would like to embark on. So we like to think that in the coming number of months, especially following the deployment of mainnet. For those of you who don't know, mainnet is currently anticipated to go live in October 2023. There's a lot of excitement around that. And to a large extent, a lot of the original goals of the MTS roadmap will have been met. But instead of being satisfied, the mindset needs to be, how can you actually build out from there? And how can you actually continue delivering for a community that has been very, very supportive? And we looked at the various options. We looked at the various strategic paths that were available to the organization. And what we did was we said, well, this is one that is self sustaining, that there seems to be a marked demand for, and one that actually corresponds with the original ethos and the original goals of the Metastrike project, which is basically to create a game with a large amount of in-game capabilities, in-app purchases centered around NFTs. But at the same time, we also want to kill one of the original goals, which was play to earn. A lot of the play to earn and a lot of the learnings from the last 2 years have related to how play to earn in itself is unsustainable, especially if you're just consistently incentivizing. What needs to be done is creating a new framework which actually encourages people to play a game and at the same time look at it almost like taking a position or placing a wager on sports teams. So, what if there was a way of doing that and a way of controlling to make sure that match fixing, for example, was not a thing? Now, in the upcoming iteration of the white paper, we'll be consistently adding more. The white paper is currently on Gitbook, but we'll be constantly be adding more to make sure that delivery is constantly happening. So don't worry about that. It will be revealed very, very soon. We're actually internally continuing to fine tune it. And once we have a date in mind, we will share it with you. So the good thing is, from a technical point of view, it's not actually a particularly difficult thing to do. But of course, we want to make sure it's well executed. And furthermore, that we are capable of making sure that the timelines are met and it creates a very good atmosphere and a very good product for the global community of users. So
Yeah,
that's the way things currently are.
that sounds great. I mean, like there were a lot of things mentioned in just like one answer, Cathal. But I was wondering, like, there were a lot of things on the table, but how could you, uh, like, start launching the mainnet? Uh, like sustain the use cases of the MTS of the tokens, and at the same time kind of like, how can I say, re-educate our users of like out of the mindset of play to earn.
Yep. So first and foremost, I think one of the big mistakes a lot of GameFi projects made during the last bull run, because a lot of GameFi projects were unfortunately trend chasers. They sought to raise on the back of a trend without necessarily thinking, how can we best achieve that? How can we best make sure that we can actually deliver on the game? So a lot of them will put together a phenomenal landing page, a video that looked great, but the issue was always the
Yeah.
same. There was very little post raise execution. So you had something known as the slow rug, whereby, or the soft rug, where instead of just disappearing, they slowly ran it into the ground and then would basically pull a disappearing act. Actually, after FTX,
Oh
uh,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
claimed that their funds were stuck on FTX and therefore could not continue development. Um, that was one of the primary avenues out for a lot of GameFi projects. Now, when you look at the difference in Metastrike, instead of actually fading out into the distance, what they did was they said, well, look, how do we actually really get into the market? How do we actually really make a difference? And how do we actually get out there to make sure that we're able to develop a very good game with which is playable both by Web 2, Web 3 gamers, and the blockchain community. That was one of the main reasons that we actually sought to do this, because there were a number of different issues within the industry as a whole. So the industry suffered from a major problem,
Yeah.
but also the fact that a lot of projects, in terms of how they were run, did not necessarily deliver and actually had no intention of delivering. Because if you know, developing a game is very expensive and it requires a lot of maintenance even after development.
Yes.
So it's why you need not just a team that's good at marketing, which to be fair, a lot of GameFi projects genuinely did have. But of course, there was another side, which was, how do you actually develop the game? And how do you do it in a way that's cost effective and playable by the community as a whole? And in my mind, actually, I know I reference Peter a lot, as Peter Nguyen, as a very good CEO, but I've worked with him quite closely, especially over the last 6 months. I got to know him, I think, around February this year, and but of course, I've been connected in different ways over a period of time, and he's very committed to this project. Really understands how games should work from an operational point of view, and making sure that things are capable of delivering. Now we've got a few questions in here, so
Yeah.
I'll just a couple of those. So we got a hi, ha, ha. Great to see you there today, and thank you so much. And Candace Simpson, thank you so much. I'm sure I'm not the one that's looking great. I'm sure that's maybe Hazel, but absolutely, thank you so much for the compliments. Um, so Alexander Zodoya, are you afraid of problems that may arise because of the name of the project Lucky Strike? Because it is a well-known pack of cigarettes. My American friends absolutely love the brand Lucky Strikes. Thankfully, I don't
Yeah.
smoke anymore. Um, but of course, it's something that we may revisit, because actually the name of a game, it's capable of changing. And if there are any issues, or based on legal feedback, could there be any concerns? If they're well founded, we may look into changing it. But we feel that it actually corresponds well with Metastrike, and of course that it is capable of that. It kind of signifies what we would aim to do within the project. But no, this is a very good bit of feedback, Alexander, and just want to say thank you so much for that. And Jongy Ban just asked the questions. Uh, how is the process of changing play to earn and play and earn? And that's a very important distinction to make because you're not necessarily focusing on just playing to earn. It's almost like you're receiving a wage to play a game. You're paying people to play your game, when actually to a large extent that's counterintuitive. Because if anything, people are leisure, they're leisurely playing their games. And sometimes, they can get quite competitive. I know I am when I play FIFA. But play and earn is a very good way because you're actually creating the capability of earning and you're creating the channels for being able to earn based on wagers, based on a number of different things. So, Jongy Ban, I think this is a fantastic question. And I think it's very important to be able to go into further detail. Now, I'll just tell you where things currently are, Jongy Ban. So that's a good thing. So Alexander also asked, there are new plans. Does this mean that the new team will devote less time to the Metastrike project? Actually, on the contrary, the Metastrike, Lucky Strike will be part of Metastrike. It's not just shifting and it's not just issuing a new token. If anything, it's doing the opposite. What it's doing is it's doubling down on the MTS token and making sure that MTS has additional utility, which can basically drive its further value within the market. And that's how we're viewing it right now. All right. But keep these questions coming because if there's anything critical, anything good, anything bad, this is why we're doing this. So feel free to keep those coming. All right. Over to you, Hazel.
Oh, yeah, I feel kind of hyped today because there have been a lot of exciting questions that we actually have never thought of before. And yeah,
Absolutely.
thank you all for giving us the questions. And yeah, please typing in the comments. We are more than willing to answer yours. And
Absolutely.
yeah, uh, I think there is this opinion in this gaming industry that to maintain a game you need to have like constant competitions, and most of the time that is like tournament, mostly online, and sometimes we have like offline challenges and quests as well. So how do you think about the future of the tournament, and like what will it look like and how it will affect the potential of growing Metastrike?
Yeah. So one thing that we've observed, particularly after the marketing efforts intensified and the team was overhauled, was that we saw that the tournaments were actually very popular. Now, believe it or not, those weren't my idea. Those belonged to Peter and Ryan, who are two people within the organization. And what we sought to do was actually build on these tournaments by actually creating the possibility of them to take positions, place wagers, and a number of different tasks. Now, initially, believe it or not, my plan, it was to actually look at the with what it was. So Eduardo, you're saying this is a very important thing. So I'm actually happy you're asking this question. Okay. So you're asking about whether or not it relates to the original functionality. Actually, believe it or not, it is entirely related to the original functionality. Creating a very good first-person shooter that can basically be the Counter-Strike of the Web3 world. When you're talking about the gaming aspect, what exactly does that mean? Well, it means that you're going to have competitions related to Metastrike, related to the actual game itself, that actually relates to live streaming, taking positions, placing wagers on the basis of different teams, different players, that will continuously be done. So don't worry. And it's entirely related to the original functionality of Metastrike. So if there are any questions, feel free to comment there. So that's not a problem at all. All right.
Yeah. So my point is that I am not so sure if Eduardo is talking about like the tournament, the competition, or the utility of the
I
token.
think
But
it's like the thing about Lucky Strike, which I can understand because
yeah,
anything that means more that it needs to be communicated in how it relates to Metastrike and creating utility for the MTS token. That's a big thing.
And one more thing is that everything that we have mentioned today and before is that we only talk about like additional things to Metastrike in as a whole,
Exactly.
not anything
Replacement.
removed. Yeah, yeah, we do not withdraw from like anything, or like we do not like remove any like functions that have been there for a long time.
Oh,
Nothing
and
at
those
all.
are continuing to be developed. So actually, mainnet is coming in October of this year, and it's currently on track. So don't worry about that. All right. If there are any additional, questions, queries, or concerns, those will be addressed. So don't worry about that. And
Yeah.
Johnny Ban just asked, how exactly can you compete against other projects within the space? So one of the big issues with Web3 gaming as it stands is that quite a lot of the time the quality of the games is not quite there. It can't compete with Web 2 games because Web 2 gaming studios have been around for a very, very long time. Now, what exactly does that mean in terms of competing against Web 2 games? Well, it means you need to do something different. Now, how many Web 3 or Web 2 games are currently offering you the ability to be able to look at esports like regular sports? So, for example, if you look at Petty Power, they're giving you the ability to take positions on which team is going to win a football game. And the same will be there for Metastrike. But there's a key difference with random generation. If you were to look at random generation and random choice, you actually create the ability to be able to take a position sometimes without knowing. And that's what's really cool about this. And it goes back to the original functionality of how exactly can they make the most out of the original game. And that's a key thing. And of course, the NFTs will continue to be there. They'll continue to have their core functionality. And of course, they're going to be able to be used in game. So that's what we're quite excited about. All right. So these are really good questions. Keep them coming, and we're more than happy to answer them. All right.
Yes. Thank you for your questions. That was like very helpful. So yeah, do you think like can you anticipate if like there will be like more tournaments coming after this one, and can you like
Absolutely.
predict a specific amount of time, like time span that there will be another tournament?
So I believe that they will intensify, particularly middle to the end of September, and that I believe that come October, especially as we continue the push towards mainnet, that the tournaments will actually intensify. So basically, how can you actually make it better? How can you actually use the tournaments as a way to be able to promote the launch of the initial platform of mainnet, and to be able to make sure that the utility is there, the use cases are there, and basically making sure that within the game itself that you're able to show and exhibit a lot of the things that are happening within the game. So there will be
Yes.
new features, there will be increased stability, the graphics will have improvements and touch-ups, and of course there'll be much more within the game itself. So keep the questions coming. More than happy to answer them.
Oh, I have a question.
Sure, Hazel.
Okay, so like thanks to the questions in the comment, I was like, oh, I came up with an idea in mind that will the next tournament be all about Metastrike and like its functions and token utility, as because like I believe that by that time there will be a lot of changes to Metastrike project and like the whole ecosystem.
So one of the key things when you're talking about tournaments and you're talking about the changes to the ecosystem, I believe that one of the things we need to point out is that the tournaments and the features that are currently popular with the user base, those will continue. And those will absolutely maintain their utility moving forward. Now, what we're doing is simply adding additional features within the game. So it's not just that we're creating something new. It's not that
Mm-hmm.
the project is issuing a new coin. It's actually the opposite. It's more so looking at, we have MTS and we have a great game. So how do we actually use the two to be able to support each other and do much more with the utility token? So when you're talking about doing much more with the utility token, what does that mean from a game launcher point of view, from a gaming point of view, from a user point of view, from a mainnet point of view, from a Lucky Strike point of view? There's so much more that you can actually do in game, and I'm talking about actually in game, than outside of it. So I think that's probably one of the better ways of actually looking at it at this moment. That it's a matter of improving the game, improving and adding utility to the token, and ensuring that continued releases happen, and those releases support have the support of the community as a whole.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so exciting. And like I really look forward to another tournament where every feature of Metastrike is so highlighted, is so, popped up and everything. I look forward to
Watch.
that. Boom. Okay. All right. So, as you mentioned in like at the beginning of the live, you mentioned about like more community engagement, more community involvement. How will you exactly describe that?
Absolutely. So the way we see it is Metastrike is a community-driven project, and the original function of MTS was actually governance. So within the governance side, naturally there needs to be more in terms of voting, in terms of putting things to the community, and in terms of being able to make sure that more can be done in order to gain community feedback. Because ultimately the project can drive so much, the game can drive so much, but what can you do without the support of the community? Actually, very little. So, looking at the overall framework, looking at the overall environment as things currently stand, it's very important to be able to make sure that not only can the community have a say, but that the community is largely able to run the project and to be able to decide on the future direction of the project. So that therein will be the governance side of the Metastrike project. And it's something that we believe can be more inclusive to the community as a whole and make sure that overall we're capable of really creating something that has the support of everybody and just be able to make sure that it delivers on its initial promise. We have two additional questions there. Can I
Yeah.
ask for a communities event? I believe that those will intensify towards the end of September. Nguyen Dui Kan. So we'll make that. So we'll be sure to keep you updated. Sucker just asked, when will the next airdrop be? Currently, airdrops can potentially be done, but it's something that we're not prioritizing at this moment in time.
Yeah.
If the community would support it, we may look at doing it. But at this moment in time, it's important to remember the issue of an airdrop. Ultimately, it decreases when you oversaturate the market, it creates a decrease in the value of the token, which may not be the most prudent thing at this point in time. It's good for boosting numbers, but the question is, what do you do with those numbers? It's additional
Yeah.
community, it's additional eyes in your project. Is it the right move right now? It's difficult to say.
Yeah. And it's hard to say, but what's the point if like we publish the airdrop, but like in the end, what we receive get back is the complaints of our users. Yeah, everything has its pros and cons though. And yeah, for about like the communities events, it will actually help us a lot if you guys like keep commenting, chatting, and communicating in our community group so that we can like kind of see what is your needs right now so that we can customize the events based on your needs. All right.
Absolutely. And once again, keep that feedback. And even if the feedback is negative, don't worry, because that's why the community is there. People always
Yeah.
think only be positive, only be positive. But the issue with that is basically when it's positivity, it doesn't feel real because you need to connect with human emotions. And when you understand human emotions, when times are good, when times are bad, it creates more authenticity and it creates more in terms of connectivity between the community and the project. And that's really important.
Yeah. The only thing that we can promise is not like always positive feedback, but always positive outcomes.
I like that distinction.
Yeah. I just thought of that. All right.
Nice.
Okay, so it has been a great live stream today. We received a lot of useful, helpful, like very realistic questions from you guys, and we
Absolutely.
hope to receive so many more next time. We can like stay up till late to answer all your questions. Don't worry.
Absolutely. No, once again, I thought this was great. And once again, Hazel's been doing a fantastic job making herself available to do these streams. And it's great that you guys are commenting. It's great that you guys are asking questions. And if there's anything, you can always feel free to say. And don't be
Yeah.
afraid. Just say what you'd like.
Yes. Yeah. Are there any future tournaments? Yes, definitely be green. We look forward to more official tournaments, more upgraded tournaments right after our minute. We cannot promise you the time, the exact time, but yes, definitely will be.
It is on the horizon. That's what we will say. It is most certainly on the horizon.
Yes, definitely. Uh, if I register to tournament, register as a team or something. Oh, so these questions, I think I will
Yeah,
be the one to answer.
that's
Yep.
correct. If I
Uh,
register to a tournament, can I register as a team or something? You absolutely can, because there'll be two types of tournaments there, candidates. One is going to be the um, team tournament, and one will be individual tournaments. So we'll be sure to keep you posted there.
yes. And when that time comes, please be aware of the deadlines because we have a lot of other teams who missed the deadlines this tournament. Yeah, so
Absolutely.
it was a shame though. Yeah. All right. So have great days. Haha. Thank you, you too. All right. Once again, thank you for showing up here on this live stream today, Cathal. It was very nice to
Absolutely.
see you back in the pink shirt.
I think I'll make that a thing for future Metastrike streams.
All right. My goal is to wear more colorful items of clothing next time. And yeah, that is our promise to see you guys probably next week or in a few upcoming days to talk more about Metastrike and our strategies. Thank you again for joining us today. And yeah, one more
Thank you.
time, our very rising star, Cathal.
Thank you very much, and looking forward to seeing everybody soon. You have a great
Yeah,
day.
have a great day, you
All
guys.
the best.
All
Bye
right,
now.
bye.